Once upon a time, Earth was a beautiful place. Miyazaki writes on a directorial memo for Porco Rosso. It's 1991, a bit over a year from having released Kiki's Delivery Service in 1989, covered up here, and before beginning work on Princess Mononoke, released in 1997, also covered here. Wow. So, to say that Porco Rosso is a film that lives firmly in the cracks of history is no understatement. And yet, somehow it's the film that would ultimately go on to spark a realization in Miyazaki that would change his mindset towards not only his films, but also towards life. The film that really made the man catch his groove. Prior to the creation of Porco Rosso, Miyazaki only knew that he wanted to create a nonsensical film that could be enjoyed on a simple level. And true to that desire, Porco Rosso was made for tired, middle-aged businessmen exhausted from international flights. Something that could be enjoyed when, as Miyazaki put it, your brain cells had been turned to tofu. In essence, a simple film. The men are foolish, the women are clever, and it's similar to a world that might be thought up in rakugo, a Japanese form of comic storytelling. Think guy with a fan.
Are you seaplane pirates?
That's right.
So we're your hostages?
That's right, too.
Set in 1929, Porco Rosso feels like a nostalgic love letter to the golden age of cinema, simpler times, and propeller planes. Dude loves propeller planes. The drawings are simplified with attention mostly focused on creating movement for a more uplifting feel, and the setting is picturesque, somewhere you could really see yourself visiting. So the film's prime directive, life is good. But it's clear that beneath the good times, there is a weight to the world.
I've been waiting to hear something for 3 years, but now I can't even cry. I just feel numb. Maybe I've run out of tears.
Porco's curse, Via's dead husbands, the war. Why are these guys pirates? And where are all the men? But the film chooses to mostly ignore it, because of course, this is a simple film for tofu brains.
You sure you want the usual? We've got new armor-piercing ones that explode on contact.
Hey, easy, kid. I'm just a bounty hunter. I'm not fighting a war.
So Miyazaki and his team are creating this uplifting, simple film, and he begins to realize that while making Porco Rosso, humanity was going through a historic turning point.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Eastern Europe is free. The Soviet Union itself is no more. This is a victory.
During the creation of this film, the Japanese economic bubble would burst, the Gulf War would begin, and the Soviet Union would collapse. And bonus, the first website would be launched. If you don't know, Miyazaki has a way of creating films that reflect on the times they're made in. For example, Kiki's Delivery Service explored how in the late 80s, magical girls were poisoning our society.
This is the reason I cut back in the protective shield. I had to put that energy into these grenades.
Now, Miyazaki was no stranger to world-altering events, but this time, not only did he have no idea how to relay this in Porco Rosso, he didn't really know what these events meant, going as far as to say he came to realize the end times were not going to be as neat an affair as he once imagined. So this big realization he had and how it altered his life is revealed upon closer inspection of the characters in Porco Rosso. And you might think we'd search in that clearly dark undertone I mentioned earlier, but you'd be wrong. You see, Miyazaki isn't a man of secrets. His messages are revealed plainly, and in Porco Rosso, they're revealed in the simple nature of the characters.
Look, it's Curtis! What's he doing here?
I followed y'all. I knew you'd get into trouble without me.
In Porco's relaxed demeanor, despite the curse he lives with daily. It's in the cheerful attitude of the women at the Piccolo Spa, despite all the men having left to find work somewhere else due to the Great Depression. In Fia's courage to love a pilot again, despite losing not one, not two, but 3 husbands to airplanes in general. And the list can go on. Miyazaki realized that no matter how messy things get, we have no choice but to go on living. Which sounds kind of anticlimactic, but it was a huge turning point for Miyazaki and the sole focus of his next film, Princess Mononoke. And it's not a concept he came to easily, taking him 13 years since his directorial debut with The Castle of Cagliostro, 29 years since his animation work on Wolf Boy Ken, and 51 years of life. The fact that I can sit here and think, duh, to the concept makes me appreciate that maybe we really did enter a different era. And I think that's kind of cool.
There's a lot of people saying a lot of things. But in the end, you gotta listen to yourself.
In that moment, Elvis the man was sacrificed, and Elvis the God was born.
I'm gonna show you what the real Elvis is like tonight!